You heard the saying, you get what you pay for. Well, in this video, I want to find out if that's actually true. I'm going to be testing 7 of the most popular clothing brands that the internet can't stop talking about, and I'm going to be ranking them to see if they're worth the money for winter. And this is going to be a 100% honest review. No sponsors. We'll go from top tier for totally worth it, all the way down to the bottom for avoid. And at the end of this video, you'll know exactly which brands are worth your money this winter and which ones aren't really worth the hype. So to get an accurate ranking, we're headed to the mall.
Okay, let's go to H&M.
A fast fashion giant you can find in pretty much any city, H&M has been a go-to for trendy pieces at what I feel like are sometimes suspiciously low price points. So let's see how H&M does.
I want to look for like knitwear, maybe some outerwear. This is kind of like the stuff that we want for the cold season. Ooh, this is cute. An off-the-shoulder sweater. Oh, it's a dress. Never mind. Okay, looking at this, it's $44. Very, very soft. You can see it's a bit fuzzy in the material. I'm gonna say it's definitely a poly blend though. Let's see. Oh yeah, nailed it. 52% polyester, 40% acrylic. So not only are you going to sweat in this, but it's going to pill into oblivion and last you maybe like 2 wears.
Okay, but before we go any further, I should probably tell you how we're going to be ranking things. I'm basing the brands on 4 different criteria. The first being fabric, because it's not just the way the garment looks that should get you to buy it. If something catches my eye, I'm going to be checking the tags right away to see if it's made of a lot of synthetics like polyester or acrylic. Or on the flip side, if it's got a lot of natural fibers that are going to feel good on the skin and actually keep you warm. If it's anything more than a 70% natural to 30% synthetic blend, then it's going to be a pass for me. Next is construction. Does it feel cheap, look cheap, or does it actually feel well made? I'll be looking for loose threads and buttons, uneven stitching, and if it generally feels like it'll stand up against wear and tear. And I really want to sell you on shopping in person versus online for this very reason, because you can actually take the time to inspect the clothes firsthand more easily. Then we have fit. When it comes to shopping for clothes, fit is so important. It can be the best piece in the world made of 100% natural fibers and constructed to perfection, but if it doesn't fit well, then it's not going to be worth the money because you're not going to wear it. So when a piece catches my eye, I'm going to be trying them on. And finally, price. At the end of the day, do I feel like it's worth the money? Alright, so now that you know how we're ranking things, let's get back to H&M. After walking around for a few minutes, some outerwear did catch my eye.
Okay, cute fleece jacket, cute fleece bomber jacket, very, very soft. Don't let the softness fool you though, but it is cute. It's lined, which is nice, and it has like inner pockets, which is actually a nice touch, and actually this looks quite nice and neat.
And this jacket I learned was actually reversible, which is a pretty nice touch if you're thinking about wardrobe versatility and cost per wear. But there was only one problem.
100% polyester, lining 100% polyester. Just looking at knitwear, I want to see if I can find something in natural fibers. This one feels like it feels like cotton. Oh, 100% acrylic.
So even though this striped sweater was fully synthetic, I still wanted to try it on just to see. For $25 Canadian, it seemed like a great deal, and it looks like a totally classic wardrobe staple that you can wear a lot. But I can tell you from the sheer fact of it being fully synthetic, it is not going to last you more than a couple of wears or washes. It's not going to hold its shape, it's going to pill like crazy, and it's just not going to look good.
But it looks cute, so that's a drag. I would get it if it was in cotton.
And then I wanted to try this dress. I thought it was pretty minimal and chic in its design, pretty perfect for winter. But for $45 Canadian, I had to see if there was a catch. It was cute, but at the same time, it wasn't very flattering on my midsection. Maybe because the color was just showing a little bit too much. But besides that, I thought it looked pretty chic and it was incredibly soft. And you know what? The construction wasn't half bad either. Nothing premium, but nothing too messy or sloppy at the same time. It was fine. But again, another synthetic blend. Okay, so look, I'm not gonna lie, the clothes at H&M are cute and very affordable. But I'm also not going to sugarcoat it that you kind of get what you pay for at the same time. The more I looked at the clothes, the more I got the impression that H&M, especially in their winter selection, are really just banking on you thinking that the clothes are cute and soft and just stopping there. They really don't want you looking closer at the fabric composition because if you did, I think a lot of us would probably pass. I will give them that there were some decent pieces I felt in terms of construction, but at the same time, there were also a ton of rush jobs that you kind of already expect to see from an ultra fast fashion company like this. I think at the end of the day, the clothes are designed more to look good on the hanger and just feel soft to the touch, but not to actually be worn long term. So for that reason, I'm gonna put H&M under avoid.
Cute, but just gotta dig a little deeper.
Now, I know that was a bit of a downer, but before we get deeper into the rankings, I want you to keep something in mind. Just because a brand gets into top tier or even bottom tier in this video, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna be that way across the entire brand. I'm one person, the sample size that I can take is very small, and I'm shopping based on my own experience. The truth is, some brands can do some garments and some seasons really, really well, while they can totally flop in others. So in addition to the rankings, I'm gonna be sharing my #1 brand in each of these 2 additional categories: best value overall and most unexpected. So now with all that in mind,
let's go to Aritzia. Hi.
Although the clothes are quite beautiful, really stylish, and a lot of them did have really decent construction, the last time I went there, they did fall a little short for me because of their excessive use of synthetic and synthetic blends, where it felt more like a cut corner rather than adding value to the garment. So I still love Aritzia. I visit every time I go to the mall, but because of that last experience, I don't really have high hopes here.
Famous Super Puff, I have one of these.
But you know what? Judgy Wudgy was a bear. I think I spoke too soon because I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw when I came in. As soon as I walked in the door, I was met with cashmere and wool literally everywhere. It's almost like maybe they got the memo here where people want more natural fibers, because the way everything was merchandised, they wanted you to know it. So I grabbed a few pieces that caught my eye and started trying things on.
I got in trouble for filming. We're in the change room now, so we're gonna try some things on, but I'm very impressed because I'm seeing a lot of wool, a lot of cashmere, and real leather.
Okay, since I didn't want to get yelled at again, we're gonna do this try on fully voiceover. So first I tried on this matching suit set. I was eyeing these pants because of this rich espresso brown color, and I was absolutely shocked to see that these pants were made of 100% wool. Yay! They're an 100% virgin wool twill with a note specifically saying that the wool was sourced responsibly. When you see labels like this, like organic cotton, responsibly sourced wool, recycled polyester, that's a selling point for the brands and they want you to know it. And you know what? These pants were gorgeous. They had amazing tailoring, very clean stitching, heavy duty zippers and buttons, with even that added touch of extra branding on it. All in all, these looked great and they felt very well made. There were just 2 drawbacks for me. One was that I didn't really like the fit. These are meant to be an ultra high rise pant and I don't find that flattering on my body type in particular. Plus they felt a bit small, so I could have gone with 1 size up. But that's more of a me problem and not the pants themselves. These pants also lost points for me on the lining. They were still lined with 100% polyester. I think you definitely do want lining in thicker wool pants because sometimes they can feel scratchy and a bit thick, but I'd honestly give these pants like a 9 out of 10. They were good. And this matching blazer was also a welcome surprise. For the past few years, I've found it exceptionally difficult to find a blazer that was majority natural fibers. But this time, this one was 100% wool. And it was also fully lined with Cupro, which is a semi-synthetic fabric, but it's also a lot more breathable than polyester, so I think that's a nice choice. And this blazer was constructed just beautifully. It was pricey, coming in at around $250, but it really did feel premium. And Aritzia was on a roll because next I tried on this 100% cashmere sweater. It was gorgeously soft, not itchy whatsoever, and overall just felt really luxurious. It's also verified by the Good Cashmere standard, which essentially means that the goats were treated well. I thought the density also looked pretty good. It wasn't too thin or flimsy. And something interesting when I was reading up a little bit more on this sweater is that they actually offer some undyed versions too, which is about as natural fibers get, so I thought that was a really nice touch to have that option. This sweater is going for $278 Canadian, which honestly I thought was a pretty fair price for what it is. So if you're looking to buy a new cashmere sweater, I would definitely put this one on your wish list. So one thing to know about cashmere before we go any further, and it's that the quality of modern cashmere is kinda all over the place. The best cashmere uses longer, finer fibers, and it feels soft AF. But those fibers are really hard to come by, and if you do, it's either extremely expensive or you're better off finding it vintage. So it's important to keep in mind that not all cashmere is created equal, and sometimes lower priced cashmere might be a bit too good to be true, which means they tend to produce shorter fibers that have a risk of pilling faster and just don't feel as nice on the skin. But in the case of Aritzia, at a more mid-range kind of non-luxury price point, I thought this sweater was pretty good. And if you're on the hunt for outerwear, I truly feel like Aritzia can't be beat. I've owned a lot of outerwear from Aritzia over the years, and I've truly never been disappointed. I'm a huge fan of the Super Puff, but if you want something more elevated, I'd 100% buy this coat. It's called the Only Coat, and it was gorgeous. And it just kept getting better. It's made of 78% wool, 10% cashmere, with only 12% polyamide, so I think that's a really acceptable blend. This coat was thick and well structured, but not too heavy, and it didn't have any weird wobbling along the seams. And it was just so stunningly soft and chic. If I didn't have a bunch of winter coats already, I would totally buy this one. Coming in at $400 too, I felt it was a pretty reasonable price. So, you know, I'm not gonna lie, going into Aritzia, I was a bit skeptical. But this time, I think they really brought their A game. So I'm gonna put them in A tier for now. Damn girl.
Okay, let's go to Mango. See if we can do a round 2 here. Okay, this is cute. Promising. Says wool, and it's on sale for $150. I like it. Let's try it on. Like, the stuff at Mango is really nice. Ooh, another nice coat. This actually looks like leather. I mean, it feels like leather. Oh, it's fucking 100% polyester. Oh my God, wow, this is like a good leather then. Some of this vegan leather is getting good. I want to try a blazer because I feel like a lot of them are pretty cute. Let's try things on, let's see.
The first thing I tried on was this blazer. I grabbed it because it looked like it had some great structure. It felt pretty nice and weighty, like not flimsy or thin at all in the hand feel, and the fabric actually did feel like it could be a wool twill. I felt like it looked good on. It was nice and structured, it was lined, it had real pockets and buttonholes. But the brassy gold buttons here did feel a bit cheap for me, and none of the buttons were reinforced. So I wouldn't be surprised if you lose a few pretty quick. But I got played by the hand feel of this fabric, because when I took a look at the tags, it was made of 63% polyester, 34% viscose, and 3% elastane. And they wanted $150 for it. Then I tried on this coat. It said wool right on the tag, so they want you to know that it has wool in it, and it did feel pretty substantial. It kind of felt a bit more felted in the hand feel, but nice and thick. Again, it had decent structure, some nice buttons, fully lined, and it had pockets. But I think they were banking on you just reading the word wool on the tag and stopping there. Because when I took a closer look at the tag, what I found kind of disappointed me. This was a blend bomb. 46% wool, 45% polyester, 4% polyamide, it keeps going, 3% acrylic, and 2% viscose.
No! God, please, no!
And then 100% lined with polyester. Okay, so look, 45% wool isn't bad, at least it's there, but it's less than what you'd want if you're looking for a good wool overcoat, especially in Canada. A good rule of thumb to stick to when you're out shopping, especially for things like outerwear and knitwear, is to ensure that the ratio of natural to synthetic blends is no more than 70% natural to 30% synthetic. So this coat was basically a 50-50 split, which doesn't pass the test for me. So all in all, Mango had some nice stuff, some decent construction. Like, it looks like they were trying, but at the same time, they just didn't really hit the mark. So I'm gonna give them a meh rating.
You gotta look past the cute sometimes, you know? You guys wanted me to go to Zara, so let's go to Zara. I have to find it. I don't know where I am in this mall. Hope I don't get in trouble for filming in there too. I'm just gonna stick to the dressing room if I have to.
I don't go to Zara very often, but the moment I walked in here, there were things that started to catch my eye right away. Starting with this coat. Okay, this thing was gorgeous. It fit perfectly and it had such nice tailoring. Honestly, it was giving me like the Roe Olsen twin vibes. It was also fully lined with pretty decent stitching. I could actually feel myself getting sucked in by this coat, so that's when I decided to check the fabric composition. So for looks, this coat might be nice, but if you want something for the winter that's actually gonna keep you warm, this one is not it. And for $230 Canadian, it's gonna be a hard pass. Then I looked for some knitwear. For $70, this one looked very similar to the cashmere sweater I tried on at Aritzia, except it was looking pretty rough on the hanger with this excessive fuzz, and I just feel like all of this stuff is just gonna be pills waiting to happen. And shocker, it was also 100% synthetic, so it's gonna be a no for me. But I wanted to try some more things on, so let's go.
I haven't been in this fitting room in years. Okay, starting with this top, I actually don't mind it. It's 95% cotton, 5% elastane, which is actually pretty good. Fit is cute, it's stretchy, it's $29, so not bad. The only thing is I think there's like a weird, I don't know if it's the right size for me. I got a small. It's like a weird shoulder bump right here from the hanger. It's cute. It's a little see-through on the side. I can see the tag a little bit, so maybe I need a bigger size, but I think this one's good. Like, this is cool. It's very Matrix, very like Rick Owens, kind of giving like Star Trek vibes, which is my vibe. I like that. I like the shoulder pads. The small is a bit big. I'd probably get an extra small, but it's a viscose poly blazer again for $239. So no, I'm gonna say no. But points for the design for sure. Okay, next is this cotton lyocell top. I don't mind the combination. It's got a bit of stretch to it. I like the mock neck. The only thing I can't tell is if it's like supposed to be ruche or if it's just bunching weird on me. It's not a hell yes, but decent.
So you know what? After all that, I feel like Zara is trying. But at the end of the day, you really gotta look. Some of the pieces I really liked, but other more on-trend cool pieces were also just a straight up hot mess. So I think my conclusion with Zara is like, if you have time to dig, then I think you will find something decent, but it's not necessarily easy. So for Zara, I'm gonna give them a meh rating.
Can I just say that shopping is a workout? Like, I'm definitely getting my steps. I'm also boiling hot. I'm sweating profusely. It's starting to get very busy in the mall. So this is not for the faint of heart. I can see why I don't come to the mall very often, but shopping in person, you really can't beat it. It's way better than shopping online if you really want to be picky about what you wear, because it can look one way, but look an entirely another way on you, you know?
Next, let's knock out a popular store that so many of you wanted me to check out, and that is Banana Republic. I'm not gonna lie, I never shop here. And it's because I always I don't know, I always stereotype Banana Republic as just being really kind of mature, and it's like in my mind it's where you would go to buy like a bad suit. I don't know, it just was never on my radar, but so many of you raved about it, so let's go check it out. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, girl, Banana, I misjudged you, because they had a lot of really cute stuff. Like, what is this coat and this sequin tube top? So good. Is this a rebrand or were they always like this? The other thing I noticed is just how easy it was to find cashmere and wool in almost any knit that I looked at. They were all either 100% cashmere or wool cashmere blends, which is just as good in my books. And the outerwear also looked really solid. This Italian wool coat was very structured with some nice detailing that a lot of the other brands I saw today skipped. Details like this chain link hanging loop and this oversized collar. Decent composition on this coat too. It was a 70-30 wool blend, so basically at my max. Banana, pricey though. They wanted almost $400 Canadian for this coat, which is more expensive than the full coat that I tried on at Aritzia, which had cashmere in it too. But either way, I think we're off to a great start, so let's keep going. The first thing I went for was this 100% cashmere sweater. They had literally every color you could want, so I decided to try to be fun for you and try on this teal color. This sweater was gorge. It was so freaking soft and not itchy at all. And for $290, don't be mad at me, but I felt like that was kind of a reasonable price. Then I just had to try on this sequin tube top because it was the last thing I was expecting to find at a Banana Republic. And you know what? It looked and felt really premium. There was not a sequin missing and it didn't feel cheap at all. Like, it felt pretty gutsy. Definitely not like an arts and crafts project that I feel like tops like this really run the risk of. I also really like the ruching along the sides for a more flattering fit, and there was extra banding on the inner portion of the tube top to ensure that it wouldn't slip down on you. So no wardrobe malfunctions to worry about. And it was even lined, like, come on, amazing. It was pricey at $160, but it was pretty cool. I had a vision of this tube top with this tuxedo jacket, which also felt impeccably made. But the downside here is that it's made of tencel and viscose. But I will note that the fabric label specifically does say Tencel, which is a name brand. And that choice does cost more to do. So it seems like even though Banana is using some synthetics in some places, they seem to be using the more high-end brand name quality of those synthetics. So that's just something to pay attention to too. For $340, this blazer was steep to me, but it actually did feel pretty luxe at the same time. And then I tried on this sheer button down, which actually has been on my wish list for a while. This one was made of 100% polyester and it looked really cool, but it was a flop for me because the fit was just a bit weird. But look, you know, I was not expecting Banana to go so hard. I really misjudged them and I had no idea that they carried such cool pieces. And even though it's expensive, I feel like they had really good fabric compositions and construction to back that up. But I'm also told that their sales are actually pretty good. So, you know, keeping all of that in mind, I'm gonna give Banana Republic A tier. Would definitely shop here.
I'm lost. I always get lost in the mall, and now I'm like very hungry and I'm walking under a reindeer. Is that bad luck? Now that I'm alert and oriented, let's go to Uniqlo.
So you know what? I am actually quite a big fan of Uniqlo. And I've always been pretty impressed by the quality you get for the price. But I've never really shopped much from them for winter, so I'm curious to see what they had. Starting with the Uniqlo cashmere sweaters. Right when you walk in, they had a huge wall of them in every color and style possible. They had sweaters, they had V-necks, they had cardigans, they had it all. But you know what? Some flags did start to go off because if I'm honest, I find it a little hard to believe that you can get a really good cashmere for $129. So let's go try it on.
So first up, I'm really excited to try their 100% cashmere. I've heard actually a lot of really good things. It's right there when you walk in the store, so I think they know that people want this, that this is in high demand. And I've been looking for a V-neck cashmere sweater, so I grabbed one. It does say 100% cashmere. It's the Uniqlo Lifewear brand, made in Cambodia for $129 Canadian. So that's a good price. I mean, yeah. Okay, like this is nice. I actually find this cashmere to feel a little itchy, I'm not gonna lie. I do have pretty sensitive skin though. This would bother me if I wore it against my bare skin, and I do have some cashmere that I can wear against my bare skin, so that is something to be said. The fit's okay. I got a medium. I find I do tend to have to size up for most things in Uniqlo. I'm not quite sure of my size yet. I prefer a bit more of an oversized fit myself. Based on softness and fit, I would actually pass on this, but I am itchy. I am like, I can't do it.
But something I actually would buy was this extra fine merino wool crew neck sweater.
I got it in this cream color. It is a bit sheer. It's a bit thin, but this would be perfect for underlayering, and they had a million different colors. So this is something that I would potentially buy. The color's bouncing back happily. Like, I don't think this is going to turn to bacon anytime soon. It's definitely going to keep you warm. Merino wool is an amazing insulator.
For $60, I thought it was great. It's made of 100% merino wool, which is very breathable, very insulating, and incredibly soft on the skin. So if you're sensitive to things like wool or alpaca, definitely try merino wool.
I like the pants here. So these are the brushed jersey wide leg pants. I think these are actually quite nice. They look almost felted, but they are like a dress pant. So they have a nice hook and eye, a good zipper, a button. They come in a bunch of different colors. I tried these brown ones. I like the nice wide leg.
These are a cotton poly rayon blend, so be advised. But if you want a pair of like fleecy feeling pants for the winter, I think you'd actually quite like these. You win some, you lose some on the fabric composition, but I think these do look good.
But one item that I'm sad to say was a total flop for me was this overcoat. It's from the Uniqlo C collection, which is actually one of my favorite lines from them, but this coat was not it. First of all, there was only 10% wool in there, and it just, you know, it looked a little shapeless and cheap. The fabric itself felt like crafting felt, nothing luxe or premium at all, and it was only partially lined, which is like okay, but it still kind of did bum me out. And a red flag to me, especially with coats and outerwear, is this dimpling and visible wrinkles that you can see here. It just kind of looks cheap and sloppy, and it really shows in these lighter color fabrics. So, you know, I would just 100% skip this coat. So listen, I'm a fan of Uniqlo, but that doesn't mean that they can win it all, because there were as many misses as there were hits this time around. So this to me was an example of how it just goes to show that even brands with good reputations can still miss the mark sometimes. There were a few items that I would personally buy, and for the most part, even on some of the pieces I didn't like, the construction and fit was still pretty decent. So this time I'm giving Uniqlo a level B rating for almost nailed it.
Okay, so it is the next day. Don't let anybody tell you that shopping doesn't take a whole lot out of you. I was completely cooked, but I have one more store that I want to check out, and that is COS. Vlogging in public, people are staring. I'll never get over it.
Okay, so COS is historically a bit more on the expensive side of things, but another really popular brand that I think is well known for their natural fiber choices and for their construction. So let's see what they've got for winter. As soon as I walked in, I was actually shocked to see this, but I found the exact replica of the fuzzy H&M bomber jacket that I tried on at the beginning.
At first glance, I thought they were pretty much identical, except the H&M one was $80 and the COS one was $350 Canadian. But this is editing me looking back at this footage. I'm actually shocked at the stark difference between these two jackets. The fur on the COS coat was incredibly soft, and it just looked really clean and almost brushed. The COS coat also had a full collar with the full faux fur, and they even lined the waistband and the wrist cuffs with it. Even though both were, at the end of the day, 100% polyester, the difference between the two brands and their offerings were pretty clear.
I was pretty surprised to see that, but let's go try some more things on. Starting with this chocolate brown blazer. I was surprised to say that this blazer was actually a bit of a miss for me. It had all the premium details that COS normally does, like clean stitching, gorgeous finishes, nice buttons, but this blazer was already showing some signs of flaws. Specifically the wobbly lapels here. Like right on the first wear, it's not holding a crisp structure. It is a wool blend blazer, coming in at 44% merino wool, but 54% recycled polyester and 2% elastane. Good, not great. Which also kind of bummed me out because I have blazers from COS that are made of 100% wool, 100% linen, so I know that they do it, so I'm not really sure what they were going for here with this blend. And the weird thing about the prices at COS in Canada is that it's all listed in USD. They wanted $250 for this blazer, so unfortunately it's gonna be a pass for me. But I feel like I can't say the same about these pants. These are also a blend, which could, lose points for a lot of you, but at the same time, these were extremely well made. All the details were super clean, like this hook and eye closure. They had really smooth zippers, and this adjustable waistband that COS does is just chef's kiss. And it does take extra time and money to add those details. So for those details and the styling, I would get these pants. Then we had this extra fine merino wool turtleneck. It's made of 100% merino wool from the Responsible Wool Standard, which is a pretty good thing. It's meant to be slim fit, and I also found it to be quite sheer, which I think is a styling choice rather than a cut corner. It was very soft, premium feeling, and yeah, I would buy this. Then I really wanted to try this sheer top. I grabbed it because I thought it was cute and I didn't have a chance to look at the label yet, so I was surprised to find out that it was made of 100% silk. This top looks delicate, but it was actually surprisingly durable. It wasn't snagging against my nails, and the finishing trim along the edges just really gives this top a little bit more protection and structure alongside the style. It was pricey at $160, but I think this top was another win and I would buy it on sale. Now let's go on to some knitwear. I say overall, cashmere and wool was pretty easy to find at COS, and even if it was a wool blend, at least you're getting more than like 10% wool at a time. This sweater was 100% cashmere and it was gorgeous. It was incredibly soft, not itchy whatsoever, and I did kind of like the fit better than the Banana Republic one. It just seemed to drape a little nicer. And compared to the Aritzia cashmere, it also felt a bit thicker and heftier. But just know that it costs almost $100 more too. Coming in at almost $400, it's pricey, but if you're looking for new cashmere and you have the budget, I think it's worth it. But now let's get to a flop. This double face wool coat caught my eye and was absolutely stunning. Double face wool is actually pretty expensive and premium to make, where it can actually cost more than a wool coat that even has lining. So when you see a double face coat like this without a liner, it doesn't mean that it's bad. In fact, it actually means that it's going to be like double the warmth because you have this super gorgeous brushed wool on either side of you. This coat was stunning and had all the premium details like these buttons, and it just felt really cleanly made and gorgeous. But I got really bummed out once I looked at the tags. It was made of 60% responsible wool and 40% Tencel lyocell. Okay, yes, again, we have the name brand Tencel, but it's still a wool blend, and it's not hitting the minimum ratio of 70-30 that we want. if you were to buy an 100% double face wool coat, it would be pretty expensive. So I don't know if they did this blend to cut down on costs both for them and for the consumer. But either way, for almost $500 and living in Canada, I would pass on this coat.
Okay, so costs, not as many hits as last time, and that just goes to show that every store isn't going to knock it out of the park every single time. You definitely have to look at fabric composition, at fit, at construction. But you know, what I will give to costs is the construction, in my opinion, regardless of the fabric composition, was still a 10 out of 10. Like, beautiful quality, great details. They did not skip on pretty much everything I looked at. So there's definitely that to be considered. Like those pants, I might look online and take a look at those because they didn't have my size, but like that adjustable waistband, come on, that's amazing. Extra buttons, seam allowance, beautiful seams, beautiful overlays, like just details. So they're definitely not skipping on that. So it really just depends at the end of the day what you're looking for. If quality is more important to you, then cost all the way. But if you're really picky about your synthetic blends and stuff like that, you're still gonna find them there.
Plus, this store is not going to be really in everyone's budget, so this time I'm gonna put costs under almost nailed it. All right, let's get to the ranking. So you know what, I was not expecting it to go this way, but after checking out all of the stores and seeing what they had to offer, I'm gonna give my top tier to Aritzia. I realize that might be a bit of a hot take because Aritzia is still on the expensive side, but this time I really felt like you got the best of all worlds here. And I really felt like they were listening to a lot of the feedback and demand for natural fibers that they've been getting online. And as a Canadian brand, they do knitwear and outerwear really well, so you know it's going to perform. Compared to Banana Republic and stores like COS, the coats even seemed to be a lot more substantial and had even better fabric blends and ratios for wintertime. Plus the styles were really cute. So for this video, I'm actually going to move Aritzia from top tier to top tier plus. But as for most unexpected, I'm gonna give it to my girl, Banana Republic. I found myself pretty surprised by not only their knitwear, but the range of really modern and cool pieces that they offered. So not only were the styles cute, but wool and cashmere were super easy to find, and the construction was excellent, so no worries there. My only downside is that they still did feel pretty expensive, but I saw sale signs all over the place when I was there, and they were actually good, like 40, 50, 60% off, none of this like 10%, $5 off nonsense. So I feel like if you shop at the right time, then you're really gonna get your money's worth here. I literally never think to go to Banana when I'm shopping, but now I think I'm gonna pay them a visit every time I go. And for best value, this one was actually really tough for me to land on, but I am gonna give it to Uniqlo here. COS was definitely another contender here for me, but if you don't have a bigger budget to spend, but you still want natural fibers that are easy to find and decently made, then I think Uniqlo's got you covered. My only downside this time was I did feel like the quality of their cashmere was pretty questionable. At the end of the day, you still have to evaluate each individual piece independently, and I really wouldn't say that Uniqlo is like a one-stop shop for all your winter wardrobe needs. And the worst, I'm gonna say, was H&M. Not because they don't have their place when it comes to accessible fashion, but at the end of the day, a lot of these pieces are really just not going to perform in winter, nor did anything really feel like it was built to last. So what do you think? Do you agree with my list? And let me know in the comments what other stores I should rank next. And if you want to know who makes the best t-shirt from $5 all the way to $500, I test them all in this video here. So go watch that next. Thanks for watching and see you next week. Bye.